Identifying yourself first for me, please, sir.
3694.
No worries, thank you very much.
What are you filming?
I'm down here to do a documentary on police corruption.
Okay. There's corruption going on, do you?
There is a lot of corruption going on within the side of Surrey Police Force at the moment.
Okay.
So the amount of officers that have actually been suspended, okay, and actually gone, you got blue. Okay, so that's nice, isn't it? You just drive off from a member of the public. What an absolute... Now that is what you call an absolute tit. Okay? That is what you call an absolute tit. How rude can you be as a whole, okay, for the way that that was done? Okay? Absolute disgrace. That was an absolute disgrace. Yes, good evening, sir. How are you? No, I'm fine, sir. I'm perfectly fine.
From Staines Police Station. Just quick
nice
question.
to meet you, Sergeant.
Can I ask why you're videoing the police
well, first
station?
of all, I know you said you're a sergeant.
Yeah.
3335.
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay.
No, I'm down here to do a documentary on police corruption.
Police corruption?
Yep.
Okay, just to bear in mind that there are private vehicles going in and out of here as well, okay?
Yep, but what I'm doing is completely lawful, apart from when you take that last officer, how rude he was. He started asking me a question.
Okay.
A blue came out, he pulled to the side,
Yeah.
he seen me walking towards him, and then literally
I do get that, sir, but this is quite a busy road and they've got police vehicles coming in and out of blues.
Yep.
What I don't want to happen is you to get struck by one of those vehicles, okay?
I'm responsible
Can I ask you to move on to the pavement?
I'm fine exactly where I am, sir.
I just want you to move on to the pavement so you're not going to get hurt by a vehicle, because there's vehicles coming in and out of here quite
I'm
fast.
big enough and ugly enough to look after myself.
Right, okay.
Okay, I'm completely fine where I am. Okay, as I said, I'm down here to talk to do with how serving police officers feel, to do with the amount of corruption within inside Surrey Police and the amount of officers at this moment in time that are actually on suspension.
You're perfectly allowed to film outside the police station, okay? That's not what's an issue. The issue is walking across this road, which is quite busy, okay? Because I don't want you to get hurt.
Sir, it's just the same as me crossing any other main road, okay?
No,
as I said,
it's not quite the same as crossing any road.
Right, as I said, I would...
This video starts hot, not with confusion, but with confrontation. From the very first seconds, you can feel the frustration boiling over. The auditor isn't easing into the interaction. He's already responding to perceived disrespect, and that tells us something important. This isn't a first encounter. This is the continuation of a pattern that we're outside a police facility, on a public road, where lawful filming should be unremarkable. But instead of neutrality, the auditor is met with tone, interruption, and dismissal. That immediately raises the stakes. Because when authority opens with contempt instead of clarity, it shifts the entire dynamic. Pay close attention to how officers introduce themselves, or don't. Watch who demands answers first. And listen carefully to what questions get ignored versus which ones trigger reactions. This isn't about one argument. It's about how quickly lawful activity becomes suspicious once a camera is involved.
Sir, do you believe that there's corruption within inside the police force?
I'm not going to answer that question at all.
Okay. Well, no. Do you? Well, okay. I will put it.
An unfair question to say.
Well, okay. I word it a different way for you then, sir. Okay.
I'm not aware of anything, so that's what my answer is.
Okay. I put it a different way to you then.
Yep.
Okay. When you look, if somebody was to break the law,
right?
Do you think that they should be sentenced according to the law?
It's not my decision to sentence, okay?
Hang on a minute. I didn't say anything. No, I didn't mention anything to do with a police officer. I'm saying as people in general. If somebody breaks the law, do you think that it is appropriate that they get sentenced from what the law actually is?
I don't make those decisions on sentencing. I can't comment on that.
Well, then do you believe then that they should be arrested if they break the law? If somebody breaks the law...
Not necessarily arrested, but dealt with.
Okay.
You don't need to arrest every single person for breaking a law.
Okay. Right. Next question. This comes off a little bit more. Okay. At this moment in time, I can see that you've got that Union Jack on your... Well, it's not even the actual Union Jack that you've got on the centre of your chest there.
Yep.
A lot of people up and down the country, and even serving people across and all around the world,
Yep.
find that very, very offensive.
Okay.
Because it's classed as defacing the actual nation's flag.
Right.
Okay. How do you see that?
I'm not going to answer that. Okay. It's my choice to wear it.
Yep, but
Okay.
it's not issued as part of your uniform.
Right. It's been allowed to be worn on the uniform. Okay. So it can stay on there. Right.
Okay.
It's a Union flag.
That is not the Union flag, sir.
Right.
That
Okay.
is not.
I'll leave
Could you actually
I'll
tell,
leave you
sir?
to do
Could you
your
actually
videoing,
tell me then?
okay?
Could you actually tell me what colours are actually in the Union flag? No answer, sir. You don't know the colours in the Union flag?
I'm well aware of them.
Okay, and you can see from that. Okay, there's only one small little tiny bit of that a colour on that one that's actually in the Union flag, sir. So you can see that that sergeant made a quick escape when challenged regarding the actual black flag that he actually had.
This is the moment where the entire interaction changes tone. When the auditor says he's filming a documentary on police corruption, the conversation stops being casual and becomes defensive. That phrase alone triggers a visible shift. Not because it's illegal, but because it's uncomfortable. Notice what happens next. The officer doesn't ask for clarification. He doesn't ask what evidence exists. He simply disengages, and then drives off mid-interaction. That's not enforcement. That's avoidance. And from a public trust standpoint, it looks bad, whether you agree with the auditor or not. Walking away without explanation after initiating contact sends a message. If there's nothing to hide, transparency costs nothing. But silence, especially after asking.
Well, first of all, that's no way to greet a member of the public, madam.
No, I just said, you okay? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well.
Okay, good.
Okay, would you mind identifying yourself for me, please?
Pardon?
Would you mind identifying yourself for me, please?
40795.
40795.
795.
No worries, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you can see that was a fantastic response there, literally from another member of Surrey Police Force. So you can see in the space of 10 minutes, that's 3 officers that have actually approached. So one completely approached and then decided to completely ignore me and drive off. Then you have the sergeant then that comes out, and then the sergeant then completely has no idea what colours are in the Union flag and really didn't care. But as far as he's concerned, that is the Union flag. So as far as the sergeant over here at Staines, that's what he believes is the Union flag. So as far as I'm aware, there's 3 colours in the Union flag, and they really don't care what it is. As far as they're concerned, there's only those colours that they wear on their uniform, because they're even now beyond acknowledging their own country's flag. So as well as shitting on the flag, they also shit on the public. No respect at all. None at all. So yeah, so as I said, for me guys, me actually hitting this.
Here comes the pivot we see so often: safety. A new sergeant arrives, and suddenly the focus isn't filming, corruption, or conduct, it's where the auditor is standing. On paper, that sounds reasonable. In practice, it becomes repetitive pressure. Watch how the request is framed. It's not advice. It's persistence. The auditor is on a public road, acknowledges the traffic, and states clearly that he's responsible for his own safety. That should be the end of it. But the request keeps returning, over and over, like a soft order wrapped in concern. This is a classic tactic, not unlawful, but strategic. When no crime exists, repositioning becomes the only lever left. And that's why this moment matters. It shows how authority sometimes shifts from enforcement to influence.
People, please do leave a comment in the box below, okay, telling me the way that you believe that that just actually happened, and what you actually seen. But to have the arrogancy of that sergeant like that to tell me no, well, in honest words, and I know people, you know, you don't ever hardly hear me swear at people, but as you can see, I'm by myself again, okay, so there is no public order, okay, section 5, look, no members of the public whatsoever, okay, that he can go fuck himself in polite words, because he is no more than an absolute tick turd that is a disgrace to the uniform, a disgrace to the country, right, and, wow, I definitely weren't expecting that, and yeah, it's unbelievable how people... So, in other words, are you telling me that you have to be a wanker to get 3 stripes on a uniform? For all those good sergeants out there, okay, don't take that the wrong way, but lately there's a lot of wankers, okay, with 3 stripes that have no respect, okay, for the public, for their uniform, and act like that. So, but yeah, you can see, okay, so these are all the vehicles that are left in there, okay. They just don't like it because I'm doing exactly what I'm legally allowed to. Now, I already told him what I was here for. If he wanted to see about corruption, that is what you call an absolute joker, okay. The whole reason for having these gates, okay, you have these great big orange lights there, okay, that flash, they bleep, they tell me when the gate's going to open, so I don't stand here like a dickhead like him. And that is exactly what happens, people. So, that is Surrey's finest. Surrey's finest, and the way that they are.
Now the auditor starts asking questions, and this is where things get interesting. He's not shouting. He's not insulting. He's probing. Carefully. Methodically. And the sergeant immediately refuses to engage. Notice the pattern. Corruption questions are dodged. Sentencing questions are deflected.